And so everyone's a content creator, right? The words that come out of your mouth are the content that you produce. So when we talk about content, because I didn't even know what it was 18 months ago, we're talking about something that you're producing to convey your message, whether it's a personal message or a business message. Of course, we're more going to talk about the business message, but it's really all about getting your messaging right and knowing who you're talking to when you want to sell your product. So how content marketing connects your audience with your product, right? We want to talk about driving people to a blog or a website, putting up great content, giving them great educational value, and then eventually them realizing that they learned something and trust you and are now ready to find your solution and engage with you. And they're going to be more willing to pay for something that you're offering them in a related space to the content that they were reading. This is me if anyone wants to follow me on Twitter. I love hanging out and chatting. Yeah, I didn't talk much about myself, but I'm a lifelong entrepreneur. I was a professional poker player for 10 years, which everyone really loves to hear about, but it's kind of boring after a while. And I'm really happy to say that now I've dedicated the foreseeable future of my life to helping entrepreneurs through education and learning and all that stuff. So in order to talk about how content marketing will connect your product and your audience, we need to know what content marketing is. And to do that, we have to consult the Godfather, right? So this is not the Godfather of content marketing, but this is the Godfather, and I thought this was a really good quote of his because it's kind of what content marketing is all about, making somebody an offer that they can't refuse. So this is actually the Godfather of content marketing, and his name is Joe Pulizzi. Joe is an amazing guy who actually formed the term content marketing and began pushing that as opposed to the other one, which we think it was called branded publishing, I think is what it was, which is a terrible, terrible name. As he called it content marketing more and more people came on board, and my wife and I recently came back from Content Marketing World, and that's kind of what spawned this talk. So content marketing is the marketing and business process for creating and distributing relevant and valuable content to attract, acquire, and engage a clearly defined and understood target audience with the objective of driving profitable customer action, right? Right? So content marketing that's complicated, and what it really is just a well thought out process for engaging with people around your industry, product, solution, around what you can help them with, what you can offer to them, and making sure that you're doing it in a strategic way that does end up affecting your bottom line. So it's not just about broadcasting sale for 30% off, come to my store today. That's not content marketing, that's broadcasting. That is a traditional television ad, maybe put on a Facebook page or a Twitter tweet or something like that. So that doesn't work because that's not what those channels are for. So content marketing it's really about providing value up front. It's about giving people more than they get for a price that they can't argue with, which is free, or just their time. Which kind of reminds me, by the way, that time is going to be kind of what everybody is fighting for in the foreseeable future as websites get better providing valuable content. You've got Facebook fighting for your time with Twitter, with Pinterest. Google is fighting for your time. It's kind of all it is fighting for time. So I want to give you a couple examples of great content marketing done really, really well so that you can get a feel for what it is, because that definition is terrible, right? So QuickSprout. QuickSprout is Neil Patel's consultancy. Anyone here know who Neil Patel is? Couple Neil Patelers. So he is like a guru at digital marketing, and he also is really great at writing the most ridiculous long blog posts that you've ever read in your life. Like 12, 15, 20-page blog posts. This is a great one, a work of his called The Beginner's Guide to Online Marketing. I bookmarked this page a long time ago, and I still haven't finished it. But that's kind of the idea. If you are interested in online marketing, go to QuickSprout and find their Beginner's Guide. But what's really funny is that it works really well. It's a great guide. It could teach you everything you need to know. but it's so long that when you're about 15 pages in, you start realizing, I could just hire Neil Patel to do this. And you're not going to go to somebody else because you're on Neil Patel's site, right? You're learning from him. You know he knows his stuff, so you're ready to hire. That's how it works as a great piece of content that converts. I'm sure this has made him $100,000 or much more. And this is what you see on his site. And he's making another great piece of content here. Hey, I'm Neil. I'm determined to make a business in Carlsbad successful. He messed up because our server is in Carlsbad, but we are in downtown San Diego. So that was a nice targeted line he did there. This is just a really solid piece of content where he's relating to you. He's relating to your space. He says, and he makes you worry a little bit. It's like, please fill out this form. I'm going to help you. So he does everything right. He checked all the boxes to get somebody to want to convert to a customer. So he's doing content marketing very, very well. Another great example, because it doesn't have to be clean, like maybe marketing on marketing seems to be a little bit cleaner with sites like Unbounce, Lead Pages, Kissmetrics, HubSpot, Infusionsoft. They're all doing great, great content marketing. But this is River Pools. The owner of River Pools, or one of the owners, his name is Marcus Sheridan. I love this guy. He is a great speaker. He's a great content marketer, and he has a great podcast called the Mad Marketing Podcast. He is a little crazy. But on his original site, he got so good at content marketing that he became the authority in fiberglass pools. Who knew? Fiberglass pools. If you search for anything you want to know about fiberglass pools, his site came up. So when people wanted to learn about fiberglass pools, like how to buy one, how much they should cost, how to build one, how to install one, what I need, how am I going to pay for it, right? He came up at the top of search engine results. Anybody in his area would buy from him. People from states away were trying to buy from him, but he could only service in his area. So he became very successful at content marketing through his blog, and then he realized that content marketing was his passion, and now his multi-million-dollar company is just a side project. This is Betty Rocker, and she is a great example of content marketing done right. She consulted with digitalmarketer.com. They're amazing people over there, and her site is all about health and wellness. And Rob, I was telling you about this earlier, right? Betty Rocker will make a protein drink in a video, tell you the ingredients of it so you can make it yourself. She'll drink it in front of you, tell you it's awesome, and then tell you how to buy it from her, and you will buy it from her because she relates to her audience and she's sending the right message and everything's coming across properly, and her offers are on par with the content she's giving away. So those are some great examples. I want to talk a little bit about the trends of content marketing so that we understand a little bit more of why this is so important. That's kind of what I'm trying to drill into your mind. I want you to think about how it can benefit you and why you should be thinking about this on a daily basis. So if we look at content marketing over time on Google Trends, this is a pretty good upward sloping graph that we'd all like to see for our companies. And you can tell that we're not even close to the end, right? Content marketing is becoming a heavily talked about topic, and it's going to be around for a long time. If we all started blogging more and more tomorrow or today, just this room, right? Like just us, we would be like on the leading edge of content marketing. So it's kind of a newer concept, even though blogging and all these things have been around for a little while. I think the idea has become solidified enough that we'd be in the end of the early adopter stage, maybe in the early majority. So content marketing is kind of just coming into its own. But it's not that popular. Digital marketing is still more popular than content marketing, right? So digital marketing is about 4 times more searched or talked about than content marketing. And what's even worse than that, SEO is actually even talked about more significantly than both of them. So we think content marketing is important, but apparently everyone still wants to know about SEO, which should be dying out, by the way, because content marketing should be solving a lot of SEO issues and all the other on-page optimizations. I just hate the word SEO. That's all I'm saying. But to put it in context, Justin Bieber is actually what's dying out. But you can see Justin Bieber search terms are way more searched than content marketing, which barely even is off the ground at this point. So it's really not that talked about. It's not that important to people. Not that many people are talking about this kind of thing. So now I want to talk about, as promised, the 4 questions we need to ask to properly connect with our audience. First, we have who. Who are they? Who is our audience? So everyone has a different audience, and you want to think about their demographics, who they are, and really figure out the personas of each different customer type. And I don't want to get into personas too much, but that's just the place you should start so that you know who you're talking to. And that way you can know where they hang out, which social channels are going to be better to begin marketing to them, and where they're going to be, what events you might want to go to, all the other traditional ways of getting in front of your audience and connecting with them, but especially what pages they like and blogs they're reading are really important, because now on Facebook you can target to specific interests and stuff. So if you're doing Facebook marketing or even remotely thinking about doing it, which pretty much all companies can benefit from it at this point if they're doing it right, then you should know what pages they're going to like. You know, are people going to follow Justin Bieber and Kim Kardashian and buy your product? Is that how it's going to work? Or maybe they are going to like Donald Trump. Maybe that's the kind of audience you're looking for. So think about what pages they would actually be liking or interested in, so that you can kind of take that information and think about how to talk to them based on how those people are talking. And that's exactly what you got to figure out, right? Like, are they the kind of person, are they a lawyer who can understand a very formal and kind of, let's say, hard to read sentence structure, or do they talk in slang and cuss a lot? So by knowing that, you'll know how to write to them and connect with them. And it's not about lying to them. You still want to always be yourself and be very genuine, but you need to do it in a way that it's both you and something that they relate to. So that's the tough part. That really is. What keeps them up at night? Because these are the benefits and pain that you're going to want to provide them with, and the pain points that you're going to want to tackle for them. So even if you can be selling a product in one space, but be writing blog posts in another if the two products like complement each other. I can't think of a good example for you right now, but it's about bringing the audience in with a piece of content, and then maybe you convert them with another piece of content later about your product. So you can go into this far-reaching grasp where you're writing about, if your audience is more of an everyone kind of thing, right? You can grab a lot of attention with a great kind of buzzworthy article, and then later on send those people to another piece of content that's more about your product. And you'll lose some people in the process most likely, but you've cast a wide net, and then you've narrowed down your audience further and further. So I want to talk about the content trail. So how we get people from not knowing about us to our content and then to our product. So it might start with like a social media post, an organic search result, or for us most commonly an ad. Well, yeah, about maybe direct. So maybe they heard about you with a direct mailer or through speaking at an event. Who knows? And then they go to a blog post, most likely. It could be your website. It could be a page of your website, but all of these are pieces of content. So I think about them very similarly to the way I would think about a blog post, where it's a piece of content that's trying to convey a message. So we want to send them to a blog post, and on that blog post or near that blog post or at some point in the future, we want to give them some sort of related offer. So it's about, if I'm writing content on, if I've written a lengthy blog post on how to create an amazing shake or juice, I am going to want to offer somebody juice, right? It's on par with exactly what they're reading and exactly what they're looking for. We know they're interested, and from the related offer, we send them to our product. So at that point, the offer is maybe captured their attention, maybe we've captured their email address, and now we're ready to market to them with a drip email campaign or something like that. That brings them to our product. And of course, we're going to do this over and over again. These are a few Betty Rocker offers. Here's one with a green smoothie that she gives away on social media for free. So this is about like giving a lot of content away before expecting anybody to buy from you. This is something that anybody can put together and do themselves. But if you click through to her blog, which looks like this, you will find, and this is the blog itself, but if you go into the post, it'll have the same sidebar here. So you'll find a related offer to that. So here's the Body Fuel System, which is a 30-day eating blueprint and meal plan. It's very related to the one juice that you might have, because I don't want to have the same juice every day. I'm going to need to know all 30 days. This is a perfect $7 upsell opportunity for her. I think the one that I clicked on was down here, and it brings us to this sales page, which is less distracting and now completely designed to sell you on something. And I've said that I'm interested. I raised my hand by clicking on the offer and said, I am interested in buying something from you. So now she's here talking in a video saying, this is how I lost a whole bunch of weight. And you actually scroll down the page quite a ways before you even see the offer. And here's the good old-fashioned discount, 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 buy now. This does work. It's maybe a little corny, but it can work for you still today. Now, take a look at this. This is like 3/4 of the way down a very lengthy page, and there's more down there, right? So this page, this sales page, is a piece of content that in itself is going to provide a ton of value to someone. So every step of the way, she's providing valuable content. You don't just put this button with 3 bullet points and expect for it to convert to a paying customer. It's not working that way online these days. It's unlikely that most people are reading the whole page, but because her click here for instant access offer, her offer is halfway down the page or more, the people that make it down here are very likely to buy, right? So if someone sees this offer and they read through the whole thing, they're very interested in it, these are your customers, these are your people, this is what an audience is. There's someone that wanted to read about this, and at some point they just, they couldn't stop reading. They're like, yes, I want that, yes, I want that. Okay, when they're like hungry for the offer, where do I buy this? Can I have it now? Please give me the button to purchase. So by the time that they make it, they're saying yes, yes, yes to your product, and you've solved all of their worries. You've talked about all of their pain points, you've addressed all of their issues, and you've built a lot of trust just going down a sales page. And people even subconsciously know that this is a sales page, but they've been ready to buy because of all the great things that they were able to provide on that page. So it takes you to the product page, and boom, checkout, money. Here's another example from yours truly over here. And this is us, this is what we do. We wrote a blog post on giving startup advice away, and our intern helped. And it takes you to a blog post where the blog post is about business advice from top entrepreneurs in San Diego. Took us a long time to make it. We've got an existing offer here, and you can see Betty Rocker, they do it better than us, right? Compared to them, we're amateurs. We really are. They're really good. And as someone's scrolling down this blog post, we actually have what's called an inform offer in the blog post, where we give people a related piece of content that's gated, so that means that they have to fill out an email address in order to get it, and we give them a reason to download this cheat sheet now. So if you're reading this, you're likely interested in this, which will take you to this page, which is the 3 or 4 bullet points one, because it's fast, it's easy, we don't want to waste anybody's time, and we're just asking for an email address. There's no money involved. It's just about filling out your email. So from there, we're converting to email. And for us, all we care about is providing valuable content and keeping in touch with people. That's really all we did. So that's kind of the process, the trail, right? From the way that you're going to get somebody to the website, to the blog post, to the sidebar offer, and over to your product at some point down the road. And of course, you can send people back using remarketing and stuff. Those are other things we could talk about on a later day. So I want to talk about what we learned from Content Marketing World, because it was really a valuable event to us, and it cost us a lot of money, and we're going to save you all $4,000 in 6 or 7 slides. So the most important thing you can do, literally the #1 thing that you should write down, Rob, absolutely, right, so what this is these are some of the least effective companies at content marketing. So these are people that said, yes, I'm going to have a content marketing strategy, and then it flopped, it didn't produce any results, and these are some of the most effective businesses. So these were people grouped into 2 groups and polled on 4 different topics. And so they were asked, did you have a documented strategy? So out of the least effective people, only 13% had it, but 53% of the most successful had it, which means that if you document your strategy, you are going to quadruple the chances of making this a profitable strategy, right? So the first thing you should do is actually sit down and write your strategy out. Get your personas right. Talk about the overarching topics in your industry that you need to tackle. That includes keyword research and all sorts of other things. Talk about the voice you're going to have. Talk about how you're going to get people from a blog post to an offer. Talk about where you're going to put that offer, how you're going to structure that offer, how are you going to test that offer, how are you going to track that offer, how are you going to set up your goals, right? You need to have clear success metrics. If you're a brick and mortar business, a lawyer that needs to get a consultation, you're hoping for a phone call, but a phone call can come from anywhere. So if you're not tracking, for instance, a call that came through a website phone number instead of just my regular cell phone number, then you don't know if the website generated that call. And then if the website did generate that call, what piece of content was somebody reading on the site when they decided to call me? Did they just go to my homepage and click on the click to call button? Did they go to my blog post that talked about a problem that they're having? And by documenting it and knowing where they came from and being clear on the metric, you can say that piece of content made me $50,000. Let's write something like that again. And so when you're really clear on it, it should be very easy to track the success of those results. Have your budget lined out and expect it to be a long-term process, right? Generating content, driving traffic, it's a ramped up kind of process where it succeeds more in the later stages, and most people give up probably 3 months into a 18-month plan. So if you're not ready to get into it in the long haul, don't start. I guess I'm kind of hinting at that it can take a while. There are ways to speed it up because you can now drive traffic just with Facebook ads, and so that's how Betty Rocker makes most of their money right now, is through driving traffic with Facebook to pieces of content that relate to the people that are clicking on the link. So great videos and information on Facebook. They have a 12-minute video Facebook ad. So you can learn like a whole thing on juicing on Facebook. You don't even have to click through. But by the time you've watched this whole 12-minute segment, you know who Betty Rocker is, and if you see another ad from her later, you might become interested in her product. So it can be expedited, but as far as, let's call it the long tail, or what works a little bit more for free, then it can take a little bit longer. Also, it's all about testing. The first ad you make, or the first piece of content you make, or the first lead magnet you make, which is the book that we were putting up behind the email gate there. The first one of those might not get a lot of conversions. The second one might not. The third one might not. You might have your personas messed up. You might have your voice messed up. You might be trying to market to moms over 50, but really it's moms under 30 that you want to be marketing to. So when you think about you're going to get so many things wrong. That's why you have to know where it's going wrong and how to adjust, and you have to have a lot of time in between to expect to fail and then try something else. Another amazing thing that we learned was that you need to start with one channel and one channel only. And I told you I was going to talk about this, where I was just asked today, why don't you Periscope? I could Periscope this whole event or something like that. And it's because Periscope is another channel. It's going to take a long time to build a community on Periscope, and then my attention is distracted. If I take my eye off of the one thing that I'm doing, then the audience will be fragmented and it'll just fall apart. So it helps to build an audience in one channel specifically first, and it should generally be a blog. And that's because blogs relate well to a lot of people. A lot of people read on their phone. They can read on their desktop. Google can read blogs, which is great for that long tail search engine results. It's relatively static and can be long lasting. If you have a company like you're a woodworking company or something like that, where it's just so visual and hands-on, then maybe you should start with YouTube as your main channel and forget about a blog. The other reason a blog is really important is because it's on your website, which allows you to then keep people on your home base, which is very, very important. So start with one channel, probably a blog, scrap most of the other things, and then when you build an audience, branch into the other channels one at a time and bring that audience with you. So if you want to launch a podcast, you can bring them over because you've captured them on your blog. Hopefully you've got a large email list and you're ready to start not cold, but with a warm audience of your peers, of people that are interested. We talked a lot about quality versus quantity at Content Marketing World. Quantity? Which one? It is both. It's also neither, right? What's the opposite of quality? Poor quality, right? It's not quantity, right? The opposite of quality isn't quantity. This isn't a thing. So that's the problem, right? It's not quality versus quantity. It is, you can have both. Technically speaking, you should always have high quality, because if you don't have high quality, no one's going to listen to you in a world in where it's really hard to stand out already, and a million other people are blogging about the same thing you're blogging about, most likely. You need quality so that you can stand out and have your original voice and be yourself. But you can also have quantity simultaneously, so it doesn't mean that you have to have quality over quantity. Generally speaking, you start with quality of a 9 or 10, and then you ramp up your quantity as you learn how to scale writing your blog posts, hiring content managers, all sorts of ways to scale. And this is a cool little graph this is from Jay Zoe, who was at Content Marketing World. He says that you just take this line and you bring it out further, right? You can just drag this out because these are not in quantity. It's kind of cutting off at the bottom, but these are not two separate things. They can come together. And he talked a little bit about this cliff where if you try and produce too much mediocre quality stuff, you just go right down to 0. I actually think that cliff exists more because if you have quality of like a 2 or 3, that's the equivalent to 0. There's no such thing as a 2 or 3 quality piece of article, right? No one's sharing that on Facebook or Twitter. If it sucks, they're only sharing the good things. That's why quality is the most important, but you can still have both. Most important thing, I think, is being yourself, having your own voice, right? Winky-eyed, pointing at you Jesus is saying, be you, right? He's just saying, like, just lay it all out there and be yourself and have fun with it. When you're writing, and you're trying to write too professionally or worry about pissing off the wrong person, you're not being yourself. You're redacting yourself, and you're ending up not identifying with your audience, right? So when we want people to identify with you, a great question that I heard was, if they removed all of the branding from your website right now, would they be able to tell whose website that was, right? Could they identify you from just the words on the page? Or if you have to have your logo there, then you don't really have a brand yet, right? The brand can extend past that logo to your voice and how you communicate with people. And so you have to be bolder, which is what Ann Handley preaches in this book right here. It's really just about making a lot of attempts and failing along the way and finding out what works and kind of moving from there. So that is it from me. Thank you, guys.